Okay, so good day everyone. Today we will going to review. Okay, in the previous 3 weeks we have discussed many things, right? And how do plates move and cause them to move. Today we will going to review what you have learned in the lesson layers of the earth, volcanoes, mountain ranges, earthquake epicenter, plate tectonics and plate boundaries. Now we have here a picture of a Mayon volcano. This Mayon volcano is located on Luzon, Philippines, dominating the city of Legazpi. It is often called as the perfect volcanic cone because of its symmetry of its shape. Now, volcanoes occur along convergent plate boundaries. Now, what is volcano? When you say volcano, a volcano is an opening on the surface of a planet or moon that allows the material warmer than its surroundings to escape from its interior when this material runs and it causes an eruptions. Now there are two active there are certain location wherein the most active volcanoes are located in two, okay, and these are the two belts, the alpine Himalayan belt and the circum-Pacific belt. When we say circum-Pacific belt, it is known as the ring of fire. Okay, now there are three stages of volcanoes life. We have first the active volcano, second the dormant volcano, and the third is the extinct volcano. When we say active volcano is a volcano that has had or at least one eruption during the past 10 years, and an active volcano might be erupted or erupting or dormant. Okay, and when we say dormant volcano is an active volcano that is not erupting but supposed to erupt again. And the last one is the extinct volcano has not had an eruption for at least 10 years, 10,000 years, and is not expected to erupt again in a comparable time scale of the future. Now, we have here the earthquake. When we say earthquake, it is a series of seismic waves traveling through Earth and is a result of a sudden release of energy. Now, when we say seismic waves are the body waves that radiate outward in all directions from center to the Earth's interior. Okay, and this seismic waves is what we felt we have when we are in when this is what we felt when there is an earthquake, yung mag-shake shake. Okay, now earthquake is usually accompanied with volcanic eruptions. Okay, and now, what is the difference between the focus and the epicenter? When we say focus, it is where the earthquake ruptures originates, and when we say epicenter, it is where the first wave hits the first it is where the waves hits the first ground. Okay, or as a chauffeur, the waves will hit the ground first. Okay, now, and what is seismology? Is the study of the earthquakes and seismic waves that move through and around the earth. Now, the one um who studies the earthquake and seismic waves is also known as seismologist. And the difference between the seismometer and seismographs, when we say seismometer, it is used to detect seismic waves, and when we say seismographs, instruments used to record seismic waves. Okay, now, by the way, there is a huge difference between the seismometer and seismographs. Again, seismometer used to detect the seismic waves, and seismographs used to record seismic waves. Now, when we say mountain ranges, it is a series of mountains or hills, okay? And it occurs along the subduction zone. It is where the Earth's tectonic plates dive back into the mantle, and the slab pool. It is the force that a force that pulls the crust deep down, go through the mantle. Okay, and the rest of the plate to which the slab is attached to is pulled in as well. Okay, now what influences the earth to move? There are many factors that affects the movement of the earth. It includes the mantle convection theory, slab pull, and the subduction zone, and the heat gravity of the earth. Okay, now let's go through about that one. on, let's discuss the layers of the Earth. Now, there are four layers of the Earth. Those are crust, mantle, core, and inner core. When we say crust, there are two types of crust. Those are oceanic and continental crust. Okay. Now we have here the difference or the table that shows the difference between continental and oceanic plates. When we say continental plates, this is granitic, light, and composed of aluminum silicates. When we say oceanic plates, its composition is basaltic, heavier, composed of magnesium silicates, and then when it comes to density, it is 2.7 grams cubic meter, and the oceanic crust is 2 grams cubic meter, and the thickness is 25 to 70 kilometers and 7 to 10 kilometers. In terms of the age, take a long time to create but rarely destroyed, 3.8 to 4 billion years old, and constantly renewed. Oldest are less than 200 million years old. When it comes to oceanic plates, later I will discuss why. And coverage is 71% of the Earth's surface and 29% of the Earth's surface. Now we have here the mantle. When we say mantle, it is mantle is the most solid bulk of the Earth interior, and the mantle is lies between the dense or the Earth's dense, the superheated core, and its thin outer layer. Okay, the crust. Okay, now 84% of the weight of the earth is contributed by the mantle. Now, last, we have the core. There are two types of core, the outer layer and the inner core. When we say core, Earth's core is very hot itself and it's very dense, a center of our planet. And when we say outer core, which borders the mantle and the inner in the inner core, okay, and the boundary separates this region is called Boolean discontinuity. Now, we all know who is Alfred Wegener, right? He is the one who hypothesized the continents were once a single landmass called Pangaea, and he's the one who's responsible for the continental drift theory. And Pangaea means all landmass, as you can see here in the illustration, the before and after. As you can see, there's a huge difference. The South America and Africa is perfectly fit into each other. Okay, this South America and Africa serves as a basis for Alfred Wegener's hypothesis on the continental drift theory, because he observed that there are some fossil fuels that can be found in Africa that can also be found in South America. The same goes well with South America. The fossil fuels that should be found in the South America can also be found in Africa. Now, as time goes by, the theory of continental drift by Alfred Wegener was not accepted by the scientific community due to the lack of evidence, because the evidence that he only presented is through time. Okay, now because of many as the time goes by, there were many scientists that tried to explain this continental drift theory, and they discovered that the hypothesis of they discovered this, okay, and that supports the hypothesis of Wegener. We have here paleomagnetism. When we say paleomagnetism, it is a branch of geophysics concerned with the magnetism in rocks and was introduced by the Earth's magnetic field at the time of their formation. And the second is the convection currents, which is we know the mantle convection theory that describes the rising, spreading, and sinking of gas, liquid, and molten material caused by the application of heat. And the last one is we have the seafloor spreading. When we say seafloor spreading, when we say seafloor spreading, it happens when the divergent, okay, when the seafloor separates into each other and creates a new one, okay, creates a new crust and in the oceanic crust. Okay, now we have here the three movement divergent boundaries, in where plates move apart, and like what I have said in the seafloor spreading, this also the influences the seafloor spreading, the divergent boundaries. Okay, it form a formation of a new crust. That's why divergent plate boundaries is often called constructive boundaries. And we have the convergent plate boundaries wherein the plates collide and plates often subducted. That is why it is called destructive boundaries. boundaries, and there are three types of convergent plate boundaries: the oceanic continental, oceanic oceanic, and continental continental. Now, we have here the oceanic crust and continental in this first picture I have here. And we have the oceanic crust and oceanic, and continental continental. Okay, now what is transform boundaries? We say transform boundaries where plates pass through each other. Now it creates fault valley or undersea canyon. Okay, before we will end, okay, I want you to raise your two hands. This one is convergent, divergent, and transform boundaries. Okay, so I guess that would be all for today. Goodbye and God bless for your exam. Thank you.